Insanity, insanity, whatever happened to humanity?
Dusk Diver 2 is a 2022 action role-playing game that has been developed by Wanning Games and Jira. Yumo Yang, a college student with a daily part-time job, has been struggling and suffering from the aftermath of the Yashanding incident a year back. In an ordinary day, chaos beasts reappeared in the streets of Yashanding, and Yumo has to once again step into the battlefield and put a stop to the madness and find further answers. Dusk Diver is my shit! Real talk, ever since I had played the original Dusk Diver game a few years ago, I did not know what I was getting myself into. When I was scrolling into the PlayStation Store just trying to find something that was low budget, indie, full of action, and satisfying when it comes to the uphill graphics and smooth gameplay mechanics of me playing in the generation consoles, I stumbled across Dusk Diver. And when I played it, I have not just become a fan and ended up loving the game and just frolicking around of just being in the good graces of me thanking the Lord himself of blessing me with this game. I have also become a fan, and not only that, but I have gone so attached of this game to the point where I was following not just anything that related to this game, but just anything that related to just the name of that could replicate the game itself. Anything that had diver to it, I was on that shit. I was watching an anime called Psycho Diver. I was playing a game called Mega Man X Dive. I was playing another game called Diver X2S. Yeah, I made that shit up. But I have became such a big hornball college kid fan of this game to the point where I was following anything that had the name related to it. Think of it as a person that just started weed for the first time and you got so hooked onto it to the point where you want to try out harder drugs. Dusk Diver is like this. If you love RPG games, if you love action RPG games, and above all, if you like to support indie developers and just trends like this, pick this shit up, buy it, buy it, buy it, because a sequel delivers just as well as the first one. The game picks up pretty quickly. Now with Yumo already having these problems in Yashanding, they want to give you an introduction method of just you knowing how the game terminology is gonna pick up as soon as you start the game. So yes, you do need to play the first one. While Yumo is getting herself into these problems in the beginning of the main game, that does not mean that she's alone. Every single side character that was in the previous one automatically shows up pretty quickly on this one, so you don't have to pussyfoot your way to try to see what's going on with them. No, this game picks up so much sooner after the first one to the point where it shows you how everybody has been doing after the past couple years. Yumo has been working a daily part-time job, kind of similar to the last one, but at the same time, she's more mature now. She looks more older. At the same time, she is more wittier and more agile to the point where she kind of can defend herself. I remember when I was playing the first one and she was getting herself into reacted to the diver abilities. She kind of felt uncomfortable, unsure, and at the same time, she felt unanxious and unconfident to defeat these enemies. But no, when Yumo gets her ass in the battle, she literally jumps in head first to the point where she feels a confidence. She feels as if at this point she's a professional. Leo still likes sweets. Leo's still a badass. And Leo is still working with Yumo in the shop with Boss. I like Boss and I like Leo. Leo and Boss is basically my two ideal standout characters of the game. As soon as I played this one, I was hoping to get knock both of these characters up, but at the same time, they have done them good justice. I like Leo's character to the point where every time they fight with each other, him and Yumo, I felt more than just a connection with them as them going through and fighting enemies and just, you know, sticking with each other. But I felt like a certain father and daughter bond between them two. He looks after Yumo. He gives her certain advice. Every time when Yumo kind of, even though I did say that she is more confident, she is more linear, and at the same time, she is more agile. There are times when she be reckless and she lets her abilities get the better of her. Leo puts her in her spot, let her know, like, look, watch out. Look, be careful. Hey, watch what you're doing, watch what you're saying, and at the same time, be on guard when it comes to you underestimating your enemies. Leo looks after Yumo a lot to the point where if it wasn't for him, she would have gotten caught up. Bahid is also doing good in this game too. They have done very good justice with his character as well. He is actually working in a record shop now, which matches his character, because if people don't know, he's into music and he used music vibrations to fight enemies. He has like a switchblade and stuff to fight enemies, and I kind of like his moveset a lot. In fact, I end up liking his character more than anybody in the game because he stands out in a very good way. They have done him justice in this game to the point where I play with him more than anybody else. They even added back Namia on this game. Now Namia was a main boss on the first one, and I wanted to see how they would do her on the game. But at the same time, she's young. She is a little bit more in that learning curve method, so they didn't really do much for her character. So she is just in the shop, just busy, just observing and just trying to see how things is as Yumo and everybody else is just doing missions and stuff. I kind of wish she tagged along with them on their journey and everything like that. But hey, they want to start small and just add more textures into the game and just land. They don't want to shoot their load too quickly. I get that. But damn it, if people know Namia, man, she is a tough one. Even though she's young, I was dying to try her abilities on this one because, man, there was times I needed her help, but they wanted to set her out and just give her a little bit of a breather method, especially how it ended on the first one. And I understand. There was another girl in the game that was on the first one too. She uses water tactics. I forgot her name. She sings now. She's like a model. Can't keep my hands to myself. Y'all know that girl? Oh, Leviata. Almost forgot her name. Leviata. She is still the same female from the first one. Classy, has a very, very huge sex appeal on the first one, but on the second one, it increases a lot. In fact, like I said, she's a model now. Everybody in the whole district worships her. When you pay attention and you look at the environment of the area, you see poster boards of her, you see logos of her and stuff, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. They have went all out with this shit with the main, with the characters and the side characters too. But they wanted you to show how much they have went into depth and how much they have matured and what they are doing now. And I thought it was pretty acceptable. They have added some side characters too that really played a good part in the game, but not to the point where they stood out, to the point where they was memorable, honestly. Like Petite or Betty, however you want to say her name, she is a maid, aka assassin. Only thing that stands out to her is the point that she cannot cook for shit. And she can't make dishes. So she's a maid, but her main weakness is making bad foods and stuff. Yeah. And then we have Dede. Now, Dede, not to spoil too much, but Dede is the character in the main box that is coming against you, Yumo. Now, I like Dede's character. Dede is badass. Dede is basically one of my also main characters of this game. She uses a sword. So by Yumo using fist-to-fist combat and Dede using a sword, her moveset is kind of confusing, but at the same time, I liked it. I thought it was a very good eye-opening gesture of me just getting into the hinges of just, hey, hacking, slashing games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I was like, man, this is some pretty deep, dark shit. The characters is great, but that does not mean that the combat is lackluster. The combat is great. The combat is I remember, is very much similar to the first one, but at the same time, they want to add more things to the game so you can be more hinged on the combat and you being on the edge of your seat. There was so many times I was about to get killed off on the game, and I was playing this on normal. I did not play this on hard at all, but they wanted to change the moveset and the difficulty elemental strategies of these enemies. Some of these enemies can inflict stun ability. I mean, stun effects to you, fire effects, blast effects to you. So you need to be careful of how these enemies are going to come at you. You can dodge. You can do counterattacks. The counterattacks kind of sucked on this damn game. It sucked a lot, and I'm good at counterattacks. So by me saying that, be wary. Just stick to dodging. But the dodging is not that good either. I remember on the first one, when you dodge, it has like a slow time event, and you can just attack enemies in your discretion. But on this one, the dodge ability, they have the slow time effect here, but it's kind of worthless. When you slow down time, as soon as you hit the enemy, it goes back to the regular time frame. And you'd be like, what the hell was the point of all that? But at the same time, you have other characters that can help you switch up your move set. Like, you can actually play as a side characters. You can actually play as Bot, Leviata, Leo, and Dede. So you can switch up the way you can attack the enemies, have different elemental sets. I like how they did here, because by Leo using fire, by Bot using electric, and by Leviata using water, you have elementals already in your back pocket. But I kind of wish they could have been more creative when it came to the counterization of you attacking your enemies at the right place at the right time, instead of being so fucking stingy, and having more of an advantage of the dodge moveset. Even though the enemies are tough and they can literally do a number on you when they gang up on you, the bosses are no joke either. There are some bosses here that was easy. There were some bosses here that was kind of, lackluster, and I was like, come on, you can do better than that. But there were some bosses that I need to be, use my strategy, and I had to switch tactics just so I can, take them down more quickly. But at the same time, I wish they could have stick to that, have different types of various ways of how I can defeat these enemies, instead of just using combat maneuvers and just switching up characters' movesets. And by the way, even though they have changed the way how you can upgrade your character's combat and upgrade their combo sets, it felt like they have nerfed Yumo for some reason. I remember on the first Dusk Diver, when you level her up, you can feel how powerful she is, especially when you use the non-stop hit move. But on this one, you can do that here, but it's not as, it doesn't last as long on the first one. Why did y'all nerf that? I love doing that shit to enemies. Let's talk about the graphics for a minute and the expanding of the concept of the game. I like your shining. I like the areas that you visit in the game. It's more lifelike, but at the same time, it's lacking the innovation of the people that you come across with in the cities and stuff. No faces. No faces at all, except the main characters or the sub characters or characters that's going to be worth a damn later in the game. So everybody else is just faceless figures that you walk around. But they have done well when it comes to the environmental aspects of the game. You see posters, you see billboards, you see lights flash around you and stuff. It turns day, it turns nighttime and stuff. I like that. But at the same time, I wish they could have added more futuristics to the points where you can see the characters' faces, and at the same time you can react to them to the point where they can see you talking and they can talk too. Same thing with Yumo and everybody else's characters. Now, they have cutscenes on the game where you can actually see their mouths move and lip sync and stuff, and it's actually pretty spot on, especially when it comes to you adding costumes and additional outfits to the characters, and it shows in the cutscenes. Great. I like that a lot. But at the same time, I notice whenever something happens or some scenes occur where you're fighting in battle or when you're taking a lot of damage, the facial expressions are the exact same. Even though they show animations in the bottom of people talking and they show how they're mad or how sad or depressed or just uphillly happy they are, the facial expressions in the game itself is the same. I don't know the girl's name, but I think, she works at a marketing store or whatever. She sells fruit and everything like that. She has the most happiest face in the bottom, the most happiest animated face. But when you look at her in the game, she looks depressed, like something's wrong with her. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, come on, like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what am I missing? Is you okay? There are times where I just really feel sorry for her, and I know I shouldn't, but that's something that needs to be fixed. Same thing with Yumo. Yumo has mixtures of expressions when it comes to the animation cutscenes, but when you're in the heat of battle, she has the same happy face, like she's a Joker, especially when she gets beaten the hell out of. There are times when I'm about to get killed off, and there are times I actually try dying on purpose, just so I can see how Yumo's facial expression would change. But when you take a lot of damage, you get introduced to this cutscene where her clothes get ripped off. Not all of them. Aww. So don't throw your opinions in a bunch, but just enough for you to know that she is taking a lot of hits, and her face is still happy. She's still excited, and I'm like, I would probably buy that if she is just liking the fact that she's dealing with a challenge, but her face is the exact same way towards the whole damn game. Every character's facial expression is the same. Leo, Bot, Leviata. So it's just, I just feel as if that needs to change. That needs to be updated, especially since I'm playing this on a PS5. There's no fucking excuse. Step your goddamn game up, especially if you want to go to the new generation consoles. I feel like if you're going to add new things and new titles to the new generation consoles, you need to take things away like this. This shit has been happening since RPGs has been brought to us. There's some RPGs that fix this, but Dusk Diver, please step your game up, man. I'm playing this on a new console, so by me playing games on a new console, new graphics, new engine, when I see shit like this is unacceptable. Okay, I need faces on characters when I walk in the freaking city. I need people to change their facial expressions whenever they are going through something. I need to feel the innovation of these characters. How am I supposed to feel bad, happy, or sad if they have the exact same type of facial expression? No matter what you show me in the bottom with the animation, what matters is what I'm seeing in the game itself. Because there are times where I actually skip the animational scene, especially when they're not talking. Oh, don't get mad. Don't get mad. Don't give me that bullshit. We all do it. I'm just the one that's willing to admit that shit. Take a breather for a bit, okay? I was getting a little too pissed off. Let's talk more about the city and how lifelike it is, even though I was giving it on a little bit of a bad note. I want to talk about how good the actual tracking of you running around the city and your side characters run along with you. It makes it feel lifelike. I had this problem with Neo: The World Ends With You. And let's just say here, I love it. I love how you play games like this. You have people in your journey, and people are running around. People are roaming around the field with you. I feel it makes me feel like these characters are worth a damn. So that's one thing that they have addressed on here. Even though the first Dusk Diver, the issue wasn't really that much of a problem, but at the same time, if you're gonna have characters on the second one, have them be worth a damn on this one too. These are no longer characters that just stands out and just help Yuno's journey. They are a part of Yuno's journey, and they are aware of this, so they have added this on here. Same thing with the graphics and just how lifelike the city is. Scratch the people having no fucking faces. Akiba's Trip needs to learn from this too. Hey, if I'm gonna talk shit about Neo, might as well talk shit about Akiba's Trip also. Let's talk about the ending. What matters most of this game. The ending was good, it was acceptable, had some problems, and one of the problems is the fact that it was backtracking. Too much backtracking. To the point where it was kind of unnecessary. I felt like they knew how the game was very short length to the point of completion, even with the side quests. Because there was some side quests on here that I felt like they just added on here to kill time, just to add time to it. And man, there was some unnecessary side quests. The first one had the same problem. The first one had the same issue. But this one, it felt like the side quests on here wasn't really pulling me in that much, to the point where I really was feeling in depth to the environment itself. Now, there was some side quests that was, reflecting to Yumo and the side characters and the new side characters that was added to us. But I felt like they should have been more focused on those missions too. But at the same time, how you're gonna add how these side missions are gonna be worth a damn to the city that has people that doesn't have no faces? I'm not letting that. I'm not letting that. I'm not letting that shit go. I'm not letting the no face shit go. I'm not. As for the final boss of the game, the final boss. Well, let's talk about the threat of the boss. The threat of the boss. It was good. In fact, I really felt the threat level. I really felt like shit was really about to go down. I mean, the shining and the whole area itself was in peril. You saw the climates and the days changing, the day cycle. I mean, the fucking chaos beast was literally ravaging the city and stuff. So I really felt like there was a threat here, and I was like, holy fuck, man, how are we gonna get out of this? So they have done well when it came to the progression cycle of how Yumo was going to get strong enough. I like the scene where she found a way to overcome the obstacles that was in front of her. It really gave me Dragon Ball Z vibes of when Goku finally snapped, but the main enemy was lacking difficulty. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, the enemy can take a lot of damage from you. You can literally get killed if you don't pay any attention, but any 5-year-old kid can know what to do. So it's like, it's easy for you to kill the enemy, but it's easy to die, if that makes any sense. But overall, I had a great time playing this. This game is like a double-edged sword. It's a very good contender to the first one. I was satisfied playing the second one to the point where they have a new game plus on here, and it's very worth a playthrough. And not only that, but I was even on board of another Dusk Diver game, especially the way how it ended. I'm like, man, what is the story now after the second one? What's gonna happen with Yumo? What's gonna happen with Leo, Leviata, and Bot, and Namia? Now, they have showed a little teaser did in there, but I want another one right now already. Don't tease shit to me, okay? Especially if you leave me like this. I'm not saying it was a cliffhanger ending, but all I'm saying is I was left satisfied, but at the same time, I was left wanting more. I'm gonna have to give Dusk Diver 2 a B-. It's a fair rating. It's a very fair rating, okay? I didn't really think that this game was that bad when it came to the stuff that I've mentioned, but at the same time, by me playing on a new generation consoles, this is how I feel, okay? Older systems, I give passes to certain things like the issues that I was talking about on this one. But as we get higher and we aim higher to the console cycle, we need to fix things. We need to take away problems that can be fixed. And Dusk Diver 2 has issues that should have been fixed since the PS2 game, the 2 days. Sorry, this review was a little longer than I expected, but I was really geeking out. Anyway, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for more upcoming game reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.